Got a question? Ask Tom on HomeShow Radio.
This is HomeShow Radio live on Facebook and YouTube. Your questions, Tom's answers. Now here's Tom Tynan and Charlie Mosier.
Well, it's just another day at the office. Our office is a little different. Mine's in my house, and Dany's is in his house, and Charlie's is in his office. So it is a regular day at the office for him. Anyway, we're here answering your questions. I've been answering your home improvement questions for 35 years or something close to it on radio in Houston, Sports Radio 610, every Saturday from 9 to noon and Sunday from 8 to 11. Of course, we have our Ask Tom Live right now, and we do this on Facebook. We do this on YouTube. And there's a group of us today. This is our monthly tradition of having a person who is my audience builder and a great garden expert on Saturdays. And that's Dany Milliken that answers your questions. One of the sharpest guys I know. I'm glad to have him on the team. I know we all are. And that goes from 7 until 9 on Saturdays. Hello, Dany.
Hey, Tom. Good morning. Thanks for that warm and wonderful intro.
You're very welcome. See, he's so used to having mornings, he said good morning because he's always on the radio in the morning.
Right.
And let me tell you, Dany, garden guys
afternoon.
always wake up early. That's just the way it is.
Actually, Tom, what it is he has Australian roots, and it's morning in Australia right now.
I
So
thought you were
he really meant to say good day.
Texan. Yeah.
I'm trying to cover for him.
Yeah, he's trying
I
to help
see.
me out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We Texans don't know what time is. So, ninth
This is
generation
true.
Texan, Tom. Ninth generation.
See, I can't even get that right. Everybody keeps telling me I get
No.
all my numbers wrong lately. All right, ninth generation. Thank you.
All right.
No,
well,
but I'm
Dany,
happy to be able to be the show right before your show, and where we talk gardening and we lead into your great home improvement stuff.
And I'm glad to be the show after your show because you do such a great job. And I like to listen to your show, so I get to listen before I go on.
I'm going to get you to a
My
room.
Lord. Okay,
Get you to a room.
That's it.
All right.
Charlie, what do you like?
Oh,
What do you like?
I like raindrops and roses and
Charlie likes
packages wrapped
bank
up in
accounts.
ribbons. I like
already
helping
been
people.
called.
I like helping people, and that's the thing that Tom and I have always agreed on is helping people, and that's why we do this every week.
That's true.
We come here and help you with the answers to your home improvement questions, and we have Dany come, our garden pro, come and join us on the last Thursday of every month, and that would be, of course, this afternoon, today, this evening, and that's what we're doing here today. So that we're going to have that. So Dany's going to answer gardening questions. Tom's going to answer home improvement questions. We're going to do all that after, of course, we cover what's news around the corner and up your block for home improvements. That's what we do here at Home Show Radio. And this topic today is, Tom said, no more lumber. So I have something
lumber's kind of going
played
out
out.
of the fiction.
Okay. So we've got something else. Is it possible? Is ERCOT in your nest? And the fact is, yes, they are. Maybe. You may have heard about these Smart Saver or similar plans that are out there. And the thing about the way these work is they're actually called demand response programs, and they're coordinated by a third party called Energy Hub. And what they do is that the good thing about it is you get a lower rate and discounts and credits, and some people even put you in sweepstakes or prizes and all kinds of stuff in the name of getting a lower price. What we get, all of us, is energy conservation because of it increases grid reliability because of what they get. ERCOT gets remote smart thermostat control. And you may have heard some of these stories in the news in the last week or so because it's been big news. Apparently, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, right? Well, it's right there on the screen. I should be able to say it right. What they've been doing is they've been resetting thermostats to 78 degrees. Remote. You don't even know it. All of a sudden, man, it's getting warm in here. You go to thermostat, it's 78 degrees. That's because they're instituting what they're calling energy rush hours. In other words, there's so much traffic that they have to slow traffic on the energy grid by doing this. In fact, one family, I saw it on, I think it was Channel 11 the other day, woke up sweating because their house was 78 degrees and they had gone to bed the night before and put the thermostat down. How do you know if you have one of these plans? Well, the providers that are putting these out here are the usual suspects. Reliant has a plan, TXU has a plan, Tri-Eagle has one, even the little guys like Kiwi have one. Then there are many others who have them. These programs are a case of being easy in and hard out. So what you can do, first of all, Google, which owns Nest, is big on these, and they're the ones who have instituted rush hour rewards. And if you wind up in one of these rush hours with one of these plans, you will literally not be able to change the temperature in your house. They seize control of your remote, of your thermostat, put it to 78, and it stays there until they say the rush hour is over. Normally, they said they were only going to do these from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, but there are people who've had their thermostat stuck at that temperature as late as 9 o'clock, or in the middle of the night it'll change. So what can you do? Just like the Mafia, these programs are easy in and hard out. You can sign up with them right on your Nest thermostat if you have a qualifying program. And you'll know if you go there and you look for the energy the control program, you can go in there and all you have to do is hit yes on that thing, and your thermostat will tell the electric company, your electric provider, that you want to participate in the program. So what happens when you want to get out? Well, you must contact your provider manually. Pick up the phone and call them and tell them, and then you have to go through a process in order to be opted out of it. And this is not just Nest. No matter what smart thermostat you have, it may be eligible for this program, whether it's a Nest or a Honeywell or any other ones. The one upside to having a Honeywell smart thermostat, though, is that the Honeywell one does allow you to override it locally. So, Tom, we have Honeywell thermostats upstairs here at Mojo Media. Downstairs we have a Nest. So, but regardless, you aren't necessarily in one of these programs. It's not like you wake up if you have a Nest. Oh my God, this was Sandy's worry, my wife's worry, was that we were going to be in this program whether we liked it or not, and that's not the case. To make it clear, you have to opt into these programs in order to get it, and once you opt in, like I said, it's going to be hard to opt out. Any
okay,
thoughts?
I got two comments. One is,
Fire at will.
If it was me, I'd get rid of the Nest thermostats. If they can do it now, they can do even more later. But I have a White Rogers. They'll never touch mine. I keep it whatever I want. But I know that's the hardcore, hey, Tom's going to do what he wants to do thing.
Yeah.
But here's something else, Charlie. You don't realize. This is not new. Back in the early 90s, they had the same program when it was the light company, when it was
HLMP?
There was a program, yes, when there was a program that people were getting breaks on their electric use, and these little boxes were put on the condensing units outside of the homes. I remember when this came through because they were hard selling it to everybody. And between the hours and 3 and 5 was their motive because, or their goal was to reduce that time because everybody's coming home and everybody's turning on at the same time, right? So they're cooling their houses down. And they would somehow control your system and shut it down no more than 45 minutes at a time. It was a shut-off switch. It was not as IT, it wasn't as technical as it is today. But this program has been tried and it has come and gone many, many times. So it's nothing new. It's just the way they're delivering it and the way they're manipulating it with these new thermostats. That's the only difference. But I would tell people to try to opt out of it because you're just going to be uncomfortable and it's just going to cause people to be mad and whatnot.
We don't want people mad.
It's not something I'm a fan of, and obviously your wife is not either. But as far as that goes, this is not new. They've been going with these kind of programs for 30 years ago and more.
Well, they're saying that part of the ERCOT is saying that if enough people opt into this, they'll have to do it less and less. So,
and that's what they said with the old programs. It's the same sales pitch, exactly the same.
But
it lasted 1 year and then it went away.
Here's the thing. Yes, they say if enough people get in, we'll have to do it less and less. What an incentive to be an early adopter on this program. Yes, I want to be whipped hard until more people succumb to this. No, it's a bad
And they
program.
gave you a little break. I think they sent you back then a rebate. Back when they were sending checks and rebates to everybody with hey, change your phone service, we'll send you $20. I don't know if you remember those days. Maybe most of our people watching this don't, but I used to switch every week and I would get checks coming in for a while. It was really weird. But that's what they would do then too. But what happened was, Charlie, people got tired of the ones that tried to be a good player, they were so miserable everybody got out and the whole program died. And I have a feeling the same thing will happen. People want the temperature they want when they want it, and they're not saving that much, and it's good for them to try to reduce it, but I don't think it's going to catch on.
I hear you. I don't think it's going to catch on. I don't think it's going to go away, because now that they have the digital access to these things, there's going to be some form of this sooner or later. I almost feel like this might even be a pilot thing that they're trying this out, see how it works. And it may come to the point where it's mandated. So let's hope that's not the case. But in the meantime,
I can show them. We're going to do a video how to put go buy your White Rogers right now, your little simple thermostats, I'll show you how to change them after they leave your house. Click, click, 4 wires, you're done.
And meanwhile, your smart meter detects that you don't have that, and it turns your electric off. So, I mean, who knows? I'm just saying, anything like that. Tom has an answer for everything. Wait till
I'll turn the generator on and kick my air conditioner back on. I don't care.
Wait till you do the math on the kilowatt charge for that running that generator. So
only for the hour or so. We do it all the time. Yeah.
All right.
What's an hour here?
Fair
hour
enough.
There?
All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what's new. Next week, we're going to talk about some of the leading ways to simplify. I love the bell at the end. Your projects around your house. Yeah. All right. So normally this would be the point of the program where we start doing Ask Tom questions, but we're going to instead fly through some Ask Dany questions, because we've gathered some of your questions that you've sent in for Dany, and I've got to come over. I got to do Dany's the old style over here. All right. So Dany, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Okay. All right. Be ready, because the questions get harder as we go on. Your first question comes from Joe in Pecan Grove.
Nice.
Or first one says, I have read online that magnolias should not be thinned in preparation for hurricane season. What say you, Dany?
I always hate true or false questions. One time in college, I took a 100 question true or false question. I just put A on all of them. Got a 98. So don't trust the true or false questions. It really depends on the magnolia. So generally, what the person read online is correct. You don't really want to prune them before hurricane season. They are very well adapted to drive through some serious weather events in their lifetime. But when it comes down to it, I would say true. You don't need to prune them.
All right. I think Dany, we've gotten you frozen up, but good over here. You still with us?
I don't know.
Okay, now you're back. Okay, you froze up on us.
Okay, great.
We were worried about you for a minute there.
Too much talking.
What it was is
Magnolias.
Yeah. Tom's doing. Hang on, let's all do. Okay, there you go. That's ladies and gentlemen, this moment of digital zen brought to you by Comcast. All right, next question we have for you comes from Leon in Lake Jackson. He says, my front yard is infested with tiny white or tan color moths about the size of a pinhead. I know the answer to this one. As you walk through the grass in the late evening, they quickly fly up and then disappear about 2 to 4 feet away. I've treated the yard with both Bifin and BT without success. Are they harmful? If so, how do I treat these things? I guess these are sod webworms, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Charlie. As always, these are sod webworms, and they're not disappearing. They're just flying further away for you to see them. It is nighttime. So the problem with sod webworms is not the moths, it's the little worms. They eat basically the trunk of your grasses right above the roots, and that makes large-scale grass loss in a lawn. Bifin should treat them, but that really will only affect the moths if you can get kind of a hold of them while they're flying around. BT does damage the caterpillars, and so what you should see there is kind of a cyclical thing. You see the moths, you spray BT, you don't see the moths a couple of weeks later. BT will not affect the caterpillars. That's Tiger. He wanted to say hi. So that BT will not affect the moths. It will affect the caterpillars. It'll kill the caterpillars. One thing that the moths really don't like are smelly things. So molasses is a great thing to put down. It also makes the caterpillars sick. And these are little babies. So if they get sick, they pretty much die. So this time of year, before it's a real crisis, I would start overspraying about every 2 weeks with molasses. If you feel like it's under control, great. What we were doing last year when it was really terrible was spraying with molasses mixed with BT, just following the label on both of them and pretending like the other one went in there. Just make that mix with both. Spraying the lawn with that, but then treating your bushes, your shrubs, the lower parts of your trees with garlic barrier. And that will drive away the moths. And so you can kill the caterpillars and drive away the moths, and you won't have the problem. All the moths will go to the public parks.
So I remember the BT and the molasses. We did that as well.
Yeah.
But what's this? The garlic thing?
Yeah. So as we're realizing that this is so cyclical, and if I can stop the moths from laying a bunch of eggs, then I really kind of get ahead of the problem even faster. So it's just another kind of element to that advice is you can kill the caterpillars until it gets cold again, but you'll be literally doing it until winter again. And so that's where it's like maybe if we can drive away those moths. So cedar oil, even spinosad. So there's a great product by Monterey that's Bugs Be Gone or something like that. Just look up Monterey, and it actually does a great job of driving away those moths and killing some of them. So you don't have that problem on a generational cycle. And that's, if you're seeing moths, you have a generational problem. So it's a short generation, but it's still a problem.
Still a problem, sure. Yeah, I would have thought, are we getting them with so strongly this year because of all the moisture we've had, or is it just a cyclical thing, Dany? I mean, is it like the cicadas, they're going to be really bad for a while, then they're going to go away, or what?
That's what normally the pattern we have. The pattern we have is 3-4 years, you get a webworm problem in your grass. This year, it's kind of like a Hollywood dream. So we have this freeze, so everything is threatened in the freeze. And so all these little eggs that maybe weren't going to hatch for a while are now hatching now. And that's why it's great. If we can really get ahead of it with BT and molasses, we can maybe, get a break from sod webworms for a couple of years. So
yeah, the only challenge is that stuff, as soon as it rains, you go back again, and golly Gomer, I think there's been some rain in the forecast.
Yeah, for sure. Now you can mix it with horticultural oil. It is one of the very few oils that you can put out there when it's real hot. And so big sunny days, most oils become kind of like magnifying glasses with ants. You start burning your plants as well as affecting the things. But horticultural oil doesn't do that. So it can kind of lengthen your treatment. But your best bet is to wait till after rains to treat. So that is a good point there.
So wait till August and then get right after it. All right. Last question we have for you here today, Dany, is I have a large dog over 100 pounds that's worn a large bald spots in the yard. And what is the best option to fill in these bald spots with something that can handle that high traffic the yard gets? And what's the best way to loosen the soil so I can get something new to grow? Would a turf be a better option?
Yeah. Are you guys assuming this is an artificial turf at the end there when he says a turf be a better option?
I don't know. Hang on a second. Let's see. Chris, did you mean an artificial? He's non-responsive.
Okay, gotcha. He's not here. Well, if he calls tomorrow on Friday, we'll see. But I'm assuming he's got St. Augustine lawn, and he's talking about artificial turf as an option. And in smaller spaces, that can be a pretty charming option. You install it, it's padded, you don't have a weed problem, but it's pretty cost inefficient to install it. Of all the plants that we install pretty regularly, that we use pretty regularly, Bermuda grass is actually a really phenomenal high pressure plant. It handles a lot of traffic better than other things do. That's why golf courses, fields are usually made with different hybrids of Bermuda. And so if you can tolerate it, and if you're dealing with bald spots, I think you probably can, is mixing your Bermuda with your St. Augustine, overseeding with a lot of Bermuda, maybe, I don't think it's like an ounce per 100 square feet or something like that. It's not that much, but you're overseeding with a lot of Bermuda, and then you're mowing at your St. Augustine height, but when you get bald spots, the Bermuda grass will grow and cover that spot real quickly.
They'll cohabitate.
Yeah, and you can prioritize one or the other by choosing a mowing height. So higher is for St. Augustine, lower is for Bermuda. So, and lastly, if you really want to get kind of great germination rates, more resilient grasses, you deepen the soil, you improve the soil. Microlife makes a product called Humates Plus that is phenomenal. And as Tom knows, I'm always going to talk about compost top dressing as a great way to heal the lawn. And that will really kind of add a lot of depth and resiliency to your lawn grass. So really, if you compost top dress and then overseed with Bermuda grass, you will see those seeds come up very quickly. And
in terms of taking care of that, they'll get along well together. You can feed them the same way. You take care of the yard. They're both the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They wonderful companions.
I was up in Richmond, Virginia earlier in the week, and I stepped onto the grass. I went, "Oh, this feels really different." It was soft and lush.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of grass. I don't know what kind of grass it was, but it wasn't St. Augustine. I'll tell you that. I don't know what kind of grows up there, but
there's fescue, there's bluegrasses. The lawn bluegrass is pretty popular up there, and then fescues are really soft.
What was funny, Tom?
Just like, I don't know what it was, but I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
Down here.
I want to get.
Texas.
I want to bring some of
the
the.
heck do we know? We don't live.
I want to bring some of that shit home because it's like I couldn't get through the TSA though. So
we have a regular caller who is having some success with that lawn level bluegrass in his backyard.
Really?
He calls me too.
Does he?
He calls me. He's the only guy in the whole world that's got bluegrass in Houston. And he calls both of us all the time. And he goes, "I'm the guy with the bluegrass." I know exactly who he is. He's a nice guy. Always has good questions. Guy. But he's very excited about the bluegrass.
He must not wake up early because he stopped calling the last few months.
Oh, maybe his grass.
Oh no. Well, maybe if he's watching here.
It is getting hot.
Maybe he's watching. Maybe he's watching here, sir. Please call Dany. The need has never been greater.
We miss you.
All right. Because you see that face? That face needs you. Call Dany. All right.
Call me too.
All right. So Dany, why don't you, here's an opportunity for you to pimp your own show. Tell us about Garden Pros, when you're on and all that. Here's a hint.
All right. Well, we're on Saturdays in the morning on 7 to 9 on Sports Radio 610. So there's you big sport fans, consider this the sport of gardening. So really, our big thing is you can see that group of people. We are rotating through true experts. So it's not just one, it's a group of us. So you will get your question answered thoroughly and with a really great answer for our area. So there's our spiel.
And from week to week, it's a different person along with Dany and all that. So every Saturday morning, 7 to 9. And of course, you got your own website over there, HomeShow Garden Pros. And if you don't know where that is, go to HomeShow Radio. There's a link. It'll take you there. So
that's right.
There you go.
Yeah,
all right.
Dany Linderman is our co-host expert.
For 2 hours
2
this
days,
weekend?
So.
I love Dany.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Dany Power.
Comes from Enchanted Gardens?
Forest.
Forest. Okay. It's Joey that comes from
so many Lindermans.
I get them confused.
So many Lindermans.
Yeah. And we're just scratching the surface of the Lindermans right there.
I know.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dany, thanks for being here today. Tom, you got any questions for Dany before we release him to go
No, I just don't want to
germinate?
know what parts y'all are scratching with the Lindermans, okay?
Only
just
the parts,
surface, Tom.
Right, just the
It's
parts.
like one of those emojis.
Just
Okay, sorry.
Maybe onto something.
all right, maybe so.
Some Tom emojis. Maybe that's our new product line.
Tom emojis. I have a head like that. All I have to do is turn it yellow and it...
Tom emojis.
All right. Oh, look
Emoji.
at the time. Dany, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for coming.
Catch Dany every Saturday there on the radio. We love you. Love you to spend some time with him at Home Show Garden Pros. And so, Tom, boy, it feels like big and empty here. Just the two of us now. So let's get to your questions.
I thought we were done. You said it's time to go.
Time for him to go. Time for us to answer. I got questions for you.
I was going to go too. I was going to.
Okay. No.
What you
Hold
got?
on. We got a question here from James in Taylor Lake Village. And James writes to us, he says, my parents have water dripping from a register or other areas of the ceiling, and the AC guy said it may be condensation from the ducts between the floors. Have you ever heard of this? He says, I went to the house and located a leak in a copper pipe behind the upstairs toilet. Called the plumber, and plumber says that's what it is. He says, so Tom, he wants to know what causes copper pipes to develop leaks after 32 years.
Okay, well, we have two separate questions here. One is the leaking
Yeah.
register.
Yeah, I know.
Let's start with that one first.
But the thing
it's
is,
probably
when I looked at this question, it's like he thought that was the problem, then he found the toilet problem. So I'm wondering, does he have both problems or what? So
no, totally different problems. The registers, if they're metal registers, which I bet they are, and the box is not insulated properly, it gets really cold. And when you have really humid times, and let's face it, we've had a lot of rain lately. If this is a recent question, there's a lot of humidity in the home. It's going to get cold. The air is going to go up there. It's going to reach dew point, and it'll drip. I've had them happen in my home. The easiest thing to do, if you can't get to it and insulate around the box and do those kind of things, or even replace that transition box that the duct comes in on the other side of the sheetrock, is to change the register to a PVC. You can buy them the same size, take the metal one down, use a PVC. It usually will eliminate it. The second thing you can do without having a lot of trouble to go through is take the register off and look at the sheetrock and the box behind it. Look at the connection. If there's a gap, you can use air conditioning tape and tape it, or better yet, you can caulk that gap. In fact, with the new energy codes, that's part of an inspection now, is that little gap that's between the transition box or the duct box that the register attaches to and the sheetrock. It has to be sealed. So they'll check that before you go ahead and what we call do the trim out on a new construction project. But if you do that, that will also stop it if you have a gap. So look for the gap, caulk it if you need to. If it still persists, change that metal one to a PVC one and the problem should go away. As far as what makes pipes leak, it could be a lot of different things, but most of the time, whether it's copper, galvanized, or even fittings on the PEX type pipes, it's the contact of our water today. Our water today is very aggressive. It's got heavy metals, it's got pesticides, it's got pharmaceuticals, it's got iron, like we're talking about metals. It's got a lot of different aggressive chemicals like ammonias and chlorines that they're adding to it. And it'll eat any kind of metal away eventually. So usually it's something as simple as that. And there's an old thing about copper pipe, and I don't know if this is going to really pertain to this particular question, depending how old the house is. But today we have sloppy plumbers. And if you cut a piece of copper pipe with your little pipe cutter and your little wheel and you cut it off, and if you don't ream the inside like you're supposed to, and most of these guys quit doing that, and you solder it together, it leaves a little ridge in there which makes the water cavitate, which actually causes leaks. And so they're skipping a very important step that most people don't know why they do it, because we don't have real apprenticeship training and things like that as much as we used to. So they say, hey, we don't need to do that, or they're not taught. And so that can haunt you down the road 10, 15 years later because they didn't ream the pipe. Hopefully it didn't happen throughout, and this is just one little place that might be coming apart, but it's usually easy to fix if you call a plumber.
It's the same effect that caused the Grand Canyon. Water just pouring down again. That's it.
Yes. You could have a Grand Canyon in your bathroom.
In your bathroom, it could be.
But water will be very aggressive.
Yes,
You're
but
right,
you
Charlie.
don't want to do
Little river
wanna,
started out as a little stream.
Yeah, you don't want to do the rim to rim hype in there though. Okay.
Yes.
Next question is from Vera in Richmond. She says, I have a high-pitched whistling sound coming from my two toilets. It's not constant, but starts without doing anything. I can move the top part of the lever inside the toilet tank and it'll stop. But as soon as I flush the toilet, just like that, it starts again. My husband says it's from debris inside the lever or the valve. What do you recommend doing about this, Tom?
Well, he's actually right. Usually it's back to the water again. It's so hard, it's calcified the valve. And she says it doesn't do anything, but what happens is it'll stop, and then if a little water leaks out and it starts to open up a little bit, it starts to make that noise, and that's the filler valve. You need to replace the filler valve. You can jiggle the handle like you're doing, and all it's doing is making it force itself closed so there's no water slowly resonating through there and causing that little whistling sound. But the bottom line is it's not going to get better with age. It's going to get worse. And so the filler valve, which is a lot of people will see the ball that goes up and down and that arm is connected to that valve, and you just end up removing that inside of that tank, that toilet piece, and replacing it. It's not a big job. If you don't want to do it, a plumber can do it. It's fairly routine and inexpensive. But these are the kind of things that if you get a water softener on your home, you'll be able to avoid these little tiny annoyances that, if you look at the maintenance that goes behind it, cost people money. So a water softener does save you on these kind of hassles, just like your shower doors not getting all crusty and a lot of different things. But this is just another example of what hard water will do.
In fact, I have a client, a plumbing client in another market, who is, we're about to launch a promotion. We're going to do, you get a free water heater if you buy the water treatment system.
Wow.
He says, because when you look at the manpower and everything is to replace a water heater, it actually is a better deal for the plumber for you to put in a full water treatment system and can put the water heater in and be done. And so that's kind of a cool idea. I thought that's a client that I can get behind. That guy has nerve.
Well, no, I think that's it's actually great advice. If you have an old water heater and you're going to change it, it's the perfect time. On the opposite side, it's the perfect time to put in a water softener too, because that water heater, my water heater is 24 years old, and for people that are watching this out of the Houston area, it might be okay in some areas, but here in Houston, 1013 without a water softener, and you're replacing water heaters. And today, because of the efficiencies, and in our climate or our area where we have to put them in the attics in many cases, the accessibility of getting an old one down, the new one up, it's very expensive manpower, as he was saying. And so it really is worth it to get a water softener, because you're not going to mess with that water heater near as much. And we have really hard water in the Houston area.
Yeah, I was up on the western slope in Colorado and took a shower. I couldn't believe how soft and perfect. Not too soft, not too hard. Water was just right down the middle. It was perfect. I thought, this is not a market to sell water treatment in.
No,
and actually,
when I lived in...
what he told me, they sell more water filters, filtration, than softening or hardening, because of the stuff that's in the water there.
Well, when I lived in Lake Placid, and it's up in the mountains just like you were, right? Up in the mountains, and all that water comes from the lakes. Now, they have acid rain and stuff from Canada, and so they're still got to be filtered, like you said, and sediment too. So I had a sediment filter, but I called the water softening company I would use in Houston and asked them for about a water softener. If they said, no, we'll come out and show you. You don't need one, because it's naturally soft water. And just a little tidbit, this is upstate New York. In New York City, they always say pizza tastes better, the dough tastes better. It's because of the water. It really is, because in New York City, as well as upstate New York, they have naturally soft water, which is very rare. And so it does make your baked goods, like the bagels and the pizza dough, actually come out better. People couldn't figure it out for a while, but they've kind of figured it out by now. That's what it is. And you can't reproduce that naturally soft water with a water softener as far as baked goods, but you can certainly do it in the shower. It feels okay. But the bad thing is naturally soft water is very bad for your body if you drink it, because it drains the minerals out of your body, which is bad for your heart. So there's good and bad with all kinds of waters. You got to watch what you're doing with them.
Yeah, it explains so much about New York City.
Okay.
Last question
no
today. Debbie in Arlington writes that my insurance has approved a roof replacement from my 15-year-old aluminum country shake roof due to hail damage. It never leaked, she says. One roofer told me the roof, which he sells, is a radiant barrier, and adding one would be a waste of money. Another said they would install a radiant barrier on the decking, and all roofs could benefit from a radiant barrier. Tom, Debbie wants to know, who should she believe on this?
Both of them are wrong, but in a way they have a little bit of yes in there. So I'm just going to explain. Let's start with the aluminum real quickly. Aluminum roofs, they get dented by the hail very bad. Arlington, Texas, up in the Dallas area, it has the highest hail damage per roof than anywhere else in Texas. That's why you get such a reduction on your roof insurance if you buy a class 4 hail resistant roof. We have a great sponsor, Boral steel stone coated roofs, that are a steel roof and also have a coating on there that will actually keep it from getting dented, and it'll reduce your insurance rates in the Dallas area and Arlington very much so. Houston, not so much. But as far as the roof goes, all metal has some kind of emissivity, a lower emissivity than other materials, such as a shingle. So it does have a low emissivity, but not like a radiant barrier. It's maybe 30-40% as opposed to the 80 to 100% you're looking for that a radiant barrier has. That emissivity means the radiation will not emit through it, so it bounces back out. So it has a little bit, but it is not a radiant barrier by any means. And secondly, the one that goes down as an underlayment will work until it gets dirty because it's facing up. Then it quits working, and the studies out of the Florida Solar Energy Center will give you about a 36-month period before you start to lose effectiveness very quickly. And that's only if you have an airspace. If you put a roofing material like a shingle down right on top of it, it no longer is a low emitter, it's a conductor, so it doesn't work as a radiant barrier at all. It only works as an underlayment. That's a lot I just threw out there. But the bottom line is this: if you're going to install a radiant barrier, Arlington's a great place for it in Texas. You do it inside the attic, on the underside of the roof decking. You get full radiant barrier results from it. The metal roofs have some low emissivity, but not enough to be considered a radiant barrier. So get a metal roof that has that Class 4A hail resistant rating, and call your insurance company to make sure it's the roof that they approve of. And watch your insurance rates drop dramatically in the state of Texas in that area.
Mm.
And now I need oxygen.
While you catch your breath, let me form this
Yes.
question, this follow-up question for you. The metal roof, usually, isn't it sitting on some sort of frame or some slats? Doesn't that airspace provide any relief as far as absorbing the sun's heat that's coming in? Could that be what that roofer meant, that it was kind of a radiant barrier?
An airspace is not a radiant barrier.
Okay.
If you used a radiant barrier, it must face an airspace, because if it comes in contact, the aluminum becomes a conductor, like in aluminum wiring, and will conduct the heat. But if there's an airspace, so it doesn't become a conductor, it's a low emitter now, so it's a barrier. It pushes the radiation back. It stops it, and it makes it go back where it came from. So that's why it's a low emitter. It doesn't emit through. A lot of people think it's an insulator of sorts, a different way, but no, it's a barrier, and that's why it's called a barrier and not a radiant insulator.
Got it. Get a radiant barrier, make sure it faces an airspace, regardless of what kind of roof you have on top of your house. Do I get that?
Yes.
Pretty much it?
In that part of the country, yes.
In that part of the
Arlington,
country, right.
Texas, for sure.
Okay.
It's hot there.
It is. I got to connect her up with Jim at Ideal, because he works in the Dallas-Fort Worth area now, and that'd be a good guy for him to get in touch with.
I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you miss a little, you miss a lot. Somebody told me that when they woke me up in class one day. All right. We're out of time here, but I just want to let you know, if you want to get your questions on, we'd love to get them, because this is one place we use the questions you send us here with the Ask Tom form at homeshowradio.com. You click on that blue form, it takes you to this page where you can fill out a form, you can send us pictures and ask us questions in any way you want, and then we're going to go ahead and answer them. Tom loves to help people. It's why we do this. And we post a new little video with answers every day at homeshowradio.com, our Facebook page, of course, our YouTube channel, and you can catch them there. Then in addition to this, of course, Tom is on the radio helping you every Saturday morning.
Yes, 9 to 12 Saturdays and 8 to 11 on Sundays. I'm there just about every weekend live, and if I'm not live, you won't know it, because we put a best of, because something's going on else in my life that I have to attend. But it's very rare, but it happens.
And then,
but I'm 30-some years. I got to have a little time off once in a while.
And then before him, of course, it's Dany with the Garden Pros on from 7 to 9. As he said, he'll have Dany and Dany this weekend, the double Ds, right. on the Garden Pros. That'll be on Saturday morning. And he's very
consistent also. He's there every Saturday morning, too, as the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.
As they say. And there ain't a meltdown.
In Texas.
All right. Then we will be back again. And we'll be back again next Thursday at 4 o'clock Central Time for another one of these shows, and we hope you'll join us then.
Got a question? Ask Tom on Home Show Radio. Home Show Radio. Free advice from a pro who knows. Home Show